Hey YouTube, this is Jeff from Acme Live Scan and Notary. I just wanted to share something that happened to me the other day. I do a lot of loan closings, and I noticed on one of the certificates that was provided, it was supposed to be a jurat. It had the proper language, and I'm here in California, and we're required to have a disclaimer statement that is on the top of above the certificate, which it did have, but it had something weird on it. So this is I have a stamp for the disclaimer, so you might want to get one of those if you are in California and you want to add that on a certificate, so you don't have to put a loose certificate. But what was on this certificate, so it looked almost correct. However, down below, it had a notary signature and then a place for the stamp. And then underneath that, it said, "I certify under penalty of perjury that this was true," or something like that. And there was a signature line. And I thought, this is weird that they have two signature lines. So I just decided to cross that out and put my own jurat on there. So I just want you to be aware of things. Make sure you read the certificates. Make sure they're compliant with your state. I've also, here in California, they have, we see some of those hybrid certificates which we can't use. Ones being like, I'm sworn, duly sworn under oath, I acknowledge this person's signature or something. So essentially you have two notarial acts in one certificate, and you can't do that. So you have to attach, if it's a acknowledgement and a jurat, it's a hybrid certificate, you're going to have to attach an acknowledgement and then attach a jurat to the same document. And you have to note those both in a journal entry in your journal. Now, I will say that, a couple of weeks ago, the Secretary of State came out and said, hey, you can, in your journal, you can list, multiple documents in one journal entry as long as they're clear, and you can show how much you collected for each notarial act and so forth. And this is all great if you have a journal that has a lot of space on it where you can do it clearly. I have a journal where they're just small little line entries. They're not designed to put multiple documents in there. And so I've opted just to stay with what I'm doing, just doing one entry at a time, one journal entry at a time, versus trying to cram a bunch of documents in one journal entry. People say, hey, this is going to save time, being able to do that, and it is going to save time if you do loan closings. If you do a lot of general notary work, I don't do a lot of general notary work, but I do a fair amount of general notary work. If you have a journal that has a whole page for a signer and you're notarizing one document, you just used a whole page in your journal to do one general notary assignment, or one document. Okay, I guess if it's a general notary assignment that has multiple documents, great, you can do that. But, for the most part, general notary, it's like, here's my document, notarize it, and you're done. For me, that's a waste. I don't want to be going through journals. I'm already going through a journal the way I'm doing it, with one journal entry per document. It takes me about 20 days to go through a journal. That's kind of quick. Probably the fastest I've cleared out a journal has been maybe about 15 days. But, now since COVID's hit, I'm doing about one every 20 days because of the volume. It's starting to slack off just a little bit. Maybe the last couple months I've slowed down a bit because I'm doing some other work. I do live scan fingerprinting, so if I'm not doing notary work, I'm doing that. And I also have my computer consultant point of sale business that I have a handful of customers still after 25 years of doing that work, and just trying to wean those people off. But unfortunately, I just had 2 customers that upgraded their system, so they're going to be with me for another 5 years at least. So anyway, but I just wanted to share that with you. Just be aware there's information that certificates, make sure that you know your laws in your state about certificates and so forth. Also, just want to bring up one other thing about Secretary of State, especially here in California. If there's something a notary tells you that you can do, whether it be journal entries or how to do specific notary things, notary acts or whatever, and you say, hey, I want to find out where it says that in the law or wherever to just verify information, try and verify it in writing, like in the law it says do this or that or whatever, or some kind of authority like the NNA. If you go directly to the Secretary of State, which is best, it's great. However, if you get somebody on the phone that says, yes, you can use this kind of journal or do this, journal entry this way or whatever, take that with a grain of salt. Unless it's in writing, okay, I wouldn't go by that. The only way you're going to know, especially for journal entries, that you did something wrong is when you get audited and they say, hey, you screwed up, okay? And then, they'll possibly fine you or whatever. I don't know. I haven't gone through the process of being audited, so I don't even know what they're going to do. But if something's wrong, it can come back to bite you. So I would like to, anything that somebody's going to tell me to do, I want to see it in writing, or I want to at least have, 5 or 6 notaries say, yeah, I've been doing it that way for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 1 year, whatever. I'm going to get multiple notaries saying, yeah, I'm doing it this way, as far as journal entries go, I suppose. I'm not really talking about, giving an oath or whatever. I mean, yeah, you can worry about that kind of thing too, I guess. But my point is I'm getting multiple people, just like what the Bible says, out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, the truth's going to come forth. And that's kind of how I go about the notary stuff, okay? It's ideal if you see it in writing, though, because if you have it in writing, then if you get audited and somebody says, hey, why'd you do it this way? And then you say, well, here's where it says in the law that I need to do it this way. And then they go, oh, okay, great. And then that gets probably reported back to the Secretary of State, and then that's why they come out with these publications periodically and say, yeah, this is clarification, because they're getting a lot of notaries that are doing things wrong, okay? So anyway, that's my tip for today, and hope to see you more often. I'm not a big video person, but I want to share some things, and I really want to share more about the live scan. I'm going to sit down and go over some software things and go over that kind of how to make more money doing that, especially notaries that want to fill their time. Fingerprinting is perfect for filling time. You can whip out those kind of things in 15, 20 minutes and, make $30-$35, in that amount of time. And at first it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but hey, after, you load up those appointments and you start making money. So what I do now for fingerprinting appointments, somebody calls me up, like today, they said, hey, I'm going to be first availability is 5 o'clock because I had to go to Secretary of State to do pick up some apostille work. And I said, I'm not going to be back in town until 5. The lady said, no problem, I'll be there at 5. Then I got some more phone calls. I said, okay, come at 5. So if somebody falls through, they don't show up, no problem. I loaded people up multiple appointments at the same time, because especially with fingerprinting, they can wait a few minutes and they're not going to have a problem with it. You know, it's not like a loan closing where, you know, you're double booking and you have two people at 5 o'clock and there's no way you're going to finish somebody in a half hour, in, you know, provided it's a, you know, it could be a quick loan. But what I'm saying is, if you're supposed to be somewhere at 5 o'clock, you can't be two places at once at 5 o'clock, okay? And you're not going to push those people off generally, okay? I mean, I have personally made that mistake just last month or something, and I called them up. I called both of them up and said, look, I made a mistake. Can you move your appointment here? Can you move your, and whoever said, yeah, I can move it first, I said, okay, I'm moving you here, and then I'm going to go to the other guy. So that's how I did it. But for best practice, you don't want to do that, okay? I'm just saying, if they're flexible, if they can move, great. If they can't, then you'd have to get it reassigned or whatever. But anyway, that's what I wanted to share today, and hope you have a great rest of your week. And talk to you later. Bye.